Hello, this is the fourth installment of the HOPESD info series, Planning to Policy, SB 10 and HAP 2.0. For those of you who might be joining us for the first time, welcome. I'm excited to have you, and I'm excited to be back after a brief hiatus to discuss two policies with the potential to make a huge impact on the housing crisis here in San Diego. My name is Nicole Lilly. I'm the Housing Projects Director at Our Times Act United and a young resident here in the city of San Diego. I know firsthand the struggle that youth face in regard to the housing crisis, and I hope that through these videos we can make learning about housing a little bit easier and more accessible so that all San Diegans have the opportunity to actively participate in housing justice. Let's fight together for hope. Housing opportunities will prevent exclusion in San Diego. Today we're going to be covering pretty controversial topics in housing, SB 10 and HAP 2.0. Both the Senate bill and the policy package have been the source of much unjustified outrage, misinformation spreading, and continued exclusionary behavior from anti-housing folks. They've held protests and created yard signs declaring their opposition to legislation that would allow for more middle-class housing. They've been loud and proud about their exclusion of residents facing housing insecurity and homelessness due to our city's staggering housing crisis. Part of the reason there's been such a delay on this video is because there's been so many twists and turns in the progression of this policy package due to opposition. Now, I know the information I'm about to delve into is complicated. As always, please feel free to reach out with any questions at nicole.lilly@autounited.org. So let's start with some context. What is HAP 2.0? HAP 2.0, or the Housing Action Package 2.0, is part of the way the city is trying to keep moving forward in their goal to provide homes for all of us. In early 2022, the city adopted HAP 1.0 in an effort to begin real commitment to creating homes for all income levels. Though HAP 1.0 was a vital first step for San Diego in addressing its housing crisis, there is certainly more work to be done. Currently, San Diego County is estimated to need more than 21,000 new homes per year just to keep up with demand. But in 2021, only 9,642 were constructed, demonstrating the need for further policy implementation for solving the housing crisis. Enter HAP 2.0. So what are the policies included in HAP 2.0? This year, these policies include implementation of Assembly Bill 2097, an accessible accessory dwelling unit incentive program / junior accessory dwelling unit revisions, anti-displacement measures, housing solutions amendments to the Complete Communities Plan, incentivizing redevelopment of areas used for specific uses that are not compatible with nearby residential areas, incentives for more homes and mixed-use development in transit-rich areas, creating greater flexibility for the development of housing on publicly owned land, single-family room occupancy hotel incentives, and allows for greater development of off-campus student housing. To clarify some of the items, Assembly Bill 2097 gets rid of costly minimum parking requirements in developments within half-mile of major public transportation stops, encouraging development and sustainable travel. The policies regarding accessory dwelling units add additional incentives and regulations to improve current policies surrounding their development. For more information about accessory dwelling units, check out the info video on them earlier in the series. Again, please reach out if you have any clarifying questions. Now that we know what's in it, what's the status of this policy package? Well, HAP 2.0 has already hit San Diego City Council once. On Monday, November 13th, HAP 2.0 was brought before City Council for adoption. Our Time to Act United joined alongside local youth organizations like University of California, San Diego's Associated Students Local Affairs and Food and Housing Offices to collect over 80 powerful and unique public comments in support of more housing for San Diego. Additionally, together, we brought out 15 young people to deliver public comment both in person and over Zoom during the meeting. Unfortunately, there were provisions within the policy package that allowed for development of some of the affordable housing to be off-site. This means that developers could construct the required affordable units in a different location than the rest of the development. The argument for these provisions was that the off-site location had to be in a moderate to high resource area. This argument was found to be quite insufficient by many, as off-site allowances have been quite reminiscent of redlining and segregation in zoning policies in the past. Several powerful community organizations, including the Coalition of Youth Present, stayed for the entirety of the nearly 7-hour meeting, demonstrating our urgency and sincere hope that they take action to remove the off-site allowances and pass the remainder of the policy package. Our pressure had an impact. Though the package ultimately was not adopted in the November meeting, the Council still made several attempts to get it passed. While several Council members, led by Council President Sean Elo Rivera, were ready to remove the provision and take action on the housing crisis, there were several holdouts on the Council. When voting on the policy as is, that is, without removing the exclusionary provision, 3 Council members voted yes, while 4 chose to vote no unless the provision was removed. 1 just simply voted no. Those who were fine with the package as it was were not prepared to, quote, legislate on the fly in order to make the package more equitable and passable. Due to this holdout, the Council chose to postpone taking action until all the concerns could be addressed. Again, our input and presence was heard and recognized. Council members promised efficiency and urgency on getting the package's adoption back on track, in a way that would be equitable for everyone. This promise has clearly been upheld, as it has been announced that HAP 2.0 will be hitting City Hall once again on Tuesday, December 12th at 2 p.m. We will uphold our own promise of showing up and will be present on Tuesday once again, demonstrating just how critical taking action on the housing crisis is for our future. Passing the remainder of HAP 2.0's policies is absolutely essential to provide the policy changes necessary for development of more housing opportunities for all San Diegans. Housing delayed is housing denied, and we sincerely hope that the City Council does not allow this package to be delayed any further. The offsite provisions are not the only policy that will have been cut from HAP 2.0 by the time it is adopted. While the removal of offsite is for the betterment of the package, the other policy that was cut would have provided incredible opportunity for more equity and inclusion in housing in San Diego. That policy was the implementation of SB 10, or Senate Bill 10. SB 10 was unfortunately formally removed from HAP 2.0 on September 21st. So what exactly is SB 10? SB 10, or Senate Bill 10, is a pro-housing state bill that cities in California can choose to opt into in order to help advance housing development for their residents. It allows a single large plot of land that currently only has one housing unit to be split in order to allow for up to 10 residential or housing units in transit-rich or urban infill areas. In addition to allowing for more homes to be built in these areas, SB 10 also provides housing faster by changing the environmental review process to prevent unnecessary delays that currently occur under the existing law. Because SB 10 is an opt-in bill, if a city chooses to adopt it, they can also choose how to define these areas. In San Diego, transit-rich is defined as within a 1-mile walk radius from transit. Urban infill areas can be thought of as a developed area with room to spare. These areas have the capacity for further development and the existing infrastructure to support it. Additionally, to touch on what I mean by changing the environmental review process, SB 10 does not get rid of all environmental review. Instead, the bill changes the process so that development is not delayed by trivial lawsuits with anti-housing intentions. The current law, the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA, was well-intentioned but has long since become overly bureaucratic. Under CEQA, anti-housing advocates in Berkeley, California, sued to stop development because of a potential, quote, environmental threat that had not been considered. What was the potential environmental threat those suing under CEQA claimed the city had failed to assess? Quote, potential noise impacts from loud student parties, end quote. Unfortunately, this get off my lawn, not in my backyard sentiment permeated the courts as well, and the housing development was blocked. Clearly, this process must change in order for development to occur effectively. Additionally, the process of developing infill in transit-rich areas encourages more sustainable lifestyles for new residents. Without SB 10, in areas zoned for only single-family homes, only one housing unit can be developed for every 5,000 square feet of land. SB 10 allows for more units to be developed on this large plot of land if the landowner so chooses. The key wording in SB 10 is up to 10 units. Only one unit can be built for every 1,000 square feet of the parcel, which means this bill does not allow for cramped or unrealistic housing units to be developed on a small amount of land. Larger parcels of land can fit the maximum number of units. We live in San Diego. Land is expensive. If you're forced to purchase more land than necessary to build your home, it will increase the overall cost of the housing developed. By decreasing the amount of land required to construct homes, you create the potential for automatically more affordable homes. And while there's no requirement in the state's bill language that units be made affordable, Mayor Gloria's current version of the bill would require at least one unit in every parcel that uses SB 10 to be made affordable, and future versions may include more. I'd like to thank List San Diego for the incredible graphic they made to help demonstrate how SB 10 works. I'll link the entire video in the description, and I highly encourage checking it out. Okay, so why did SB 10 get removed from HAP 2.0? A major reason there was so much attention paid to removing SB 10 is likely because it was one of the most important parts of this policy package. One of the more frequently cited arguments against its inclusion was due to its irreversibility. This provision of SB 10 refers to the fact that once a parcel of land has been upzoned using the legislation, it cannot subsequently be downzoned, or in other words, its allowed density cannot be reduced. The irreversibility characteristic is key to the impact SB 10 can create because the alternative is allowing for the opportunity of downzoning. For example, in Los Angeles, downzoning efforts led the city's zoned capacity to drop from 10 million before the 1960s down to around 4 million. Los Angeles' 3.9 million and growing population is quickly reaching this unnecessary and avoidable capacity limit. SB 10's prohibition on downzoning is what earned it such negative efforts from anti-housing advocates, but it's what gives this policy such potential to have meaningful and positive impacts on the housing crisis if implemented. We aren't giving up on the incredible housing opportunities that SB 10 would offer San Diego if implemented here. We will continue to push for its implementation along with our community partners because a majority of residents here in San Diego believe that they should be allowed to do with their property what they please, and the majority of residents here in San Diego are pro-housing. We will not let the voices and misplaced anger of a noisy, exclusionary group stop us from fighting for solutions to the housing crisis that affects all of our current and future neighbors. Though the Senate bill's implementation has been removed from HAP 2.0, we must continue in our fervent support. The important work that the other policies within this package will achieve is still essential to our long-term fight against the housing crisis. You can show your support for the overall pro-housing movement by showing up. This can look like joining us on December 12th at 2 p.m. at City Hall or over Zoom, or by submitting a comment virtually at autounited.org/HAP2. Take some time to reflect on all the information presented to you today, and please reach out to me if you have any questions or clarifications. I hope to see your comment in support of HAP 2.0 and encouraging future support for SB 10. Again, you can submit your virtual comment at autounited.org/HAP2. If you would like to stay up to date with the progress of HAP 2.0 and SB 10, or attend meetings at City Hall with us as future housing policy comes up for discussion and votes, please consider following us on Instagram at @AutoUnited or consider signing up for our newsletter, and we'll keep you posted on the progress of these incredible pro-housing opportunities. Thank you for your time and for joining us and having hope for the future of housing in San Diego. See you next time.